I've been chosen by committee to answer your guys' questions.
So I'm a terrible interviewee. Anytime I'm asked questions and I have to answer them, I ramble.
Did Mike and Ray really kiss? Yes, we did. We did not put our thumbs on each other's mouths. We actually kissed.
I don't kiss and tell.
Probably like 2 or 3 times because we're amazing and we nailed it in just like a couple takes.
We had to do it like a million times just because Ray, I was going to do a joke, but I probably shouldn't do it. Cut this out.
Was it improvised? I would say some of it was improvised. The majority of it was not. I mean, it wouldn't be as funny if we didn't have the structure, if we didn't have the meat of the writing. The writing was done in such a way where like the story and the plot is there, it's strong. The characters that were developed were just beautifully crafted, and the actors were able to take the story, take the characters, and become that, and then they were able to improvise as needed. I think the biggest thing that I improvised was when I listed off my fears in episode 3. That section I think was originally like 4 minutes long, where it was just 4 minutes of just me just listing off my fears.
I grew up in Oregon, and I learned about the Oregon Trail in school, and I never played the video game. I don't know if it's like also like people from Portland don't watch Portlandia. Like I don't know if it was that kind of thing, but yeah, I've never played the video game. So I'm sorry.
We shot Oregon Trail up in Heber, Utah. It was a little place called Little Deer Creek Campground.
Literally behind the camera were Brenna and Pepe, our cinematographers, but I like to think in terms of the story, Joseph Silver hired a camera crew to try and create footage for his reel.
We're all friends and we all feel safe around each other, and we all feel free to take creative risks around each other, which I think is really important on a set, especially a comedic set though, because you want to be able to explore and see what lands, what doesn't land. You want to be able to try something that might be really weird or goofy and it might not work out, but you want to have a safe space where you can just throw it out there and do it and everyone supports you no matter what. And so there was very much that vibe on set.
Working with the actors who were lovely and funny and open to trying things, always on their game. They were very professional, but they also weren't like stick up their butt.
I haven't laughed so much, so frequently, so often. I was surrounded by amazing people. All the other actors were incredible. The crew was phenomenal. Just amazing people.
Just seeing how dedicated people are behind the scenes to make sure that something like Oregon Trail turns out really well.
Working once again with such a fantastic crew.
For me, it was really eye-opening just to see that, wow, you know, there's a lot of love and a lot of dedication that goes into creating something this awesome.
I've always written a lot, but I've never really shared it with anyone because I've always been too scared that people wouldn't think that my work was funny.
The writing, just reading it and seeing the characters develop was so fun, and then being in the mountains with friends and people that you've worked with, and the cast and the crew was so awesome. Just being there, like, I don't know how to explain it, but everything just went smoothly and everyone worked so well together.
And so to have everyone who came together on this project come together was like so inspiring.
It was written by a female, Allie. She's awesome. And the crew was primarily dominated by women, which is awesome. And I've only been on 2 sets before where the crew is primarily women, and both of those sets were incredible to be on. I loved just the environment that is created when females are in charge and when females are everywhere. I feel more myself. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm not scared to just do my thing.
The most challenging thing for me was to not complain about it being so hot.
If you look closely at Oregon Trail, you'll be able to tell that we shot it outside in the summer. and it was really hot.
Being outside.
We were outside, it was very hot.
We were shooting in 95-plus-degree weather.
I'll probably retire to Alaska or the North Pole at some point in my life.
Poor Brenna was operating a shoulder rig that was very, very heavy, and she did it all day for 3 days in a row.
Not being able to wash my hands. I'm somewhat of a germaphobe, and I like to have clean hands. Walking through shrubs without, knowing if there's going to be a bug latching onto me or a snake crawling up.
Memorizing lines, but adding my character choices. I'm trying to be a professional actor and stay in character, method acting the whole time, but yet I'm a bad actor. So I would mispronounce some words on purpose. I would rearrange some words on purpose.
Another challenge was that we had a whole day of shooting, and then we camped, and then we started again at 6 a.m. the next day. So there was a lot of stamina there involved.
Also, crowdfunding. I will never crowdfund again. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. If you can make a movie without crowdfunding, why aren't you doing that right now?
It was written to be a documentary and a mockumentary. And so it was really difficult for me to figure out what I needed to do differently to shoot this. We weren't going to make things look beautiful, because we want it to feel organic. And obviously when you shoot a documentary, you don't have time. You just have to turn the camera on and shoot what you got. And so that was difficult for me to really visualize at first, but I watched a lot of The Office, I watched a lot of Parks and Recreation and mockumentary movies like Best in Show and What We Do in the Shadows. It's a very specific shooting format that I had to learn.
However, if I had to do it all over again, knowing that there would be a lot of heat, I would still say yes to the project because it was an amazing experience.
Why are women and minorities such a big deal in film? What a crazy question, am I right? Yo, it's because they are underrepresented. There are not enough women and minorities in film. And if they are in film, they don't have that legit of roles.
I could go into statistics and say Catherine Bigelow, but for me, it's important because I feel as a woman, and as a short woman, only 5'3", it's harder for me to prove myself in a room that is just full of men. I have to work harder for what I want. And that's why they're important. That's why we like to celebrate the women that are succeeding and are getting places.
Traditionally, for the vast majority of the time, the way that women were portrayed was through the lens of men, because it was mostly men behind the camera, and female roles were mostly written by men, and female actresses were mostly cast by men up until fairly recently. So I think that women in film is a big deal because it's still something that is improving, which is amazing, and it still needs to be improved further. The ways that women are represented in the media need to be diversified and shown more depth, and the roles that we give to women behind the camera also need to be diversified. And we need to see more women in positions of power behind the camera.
If you look at how many women are in above-the-line positions and below-the-line positions on film crews, it's astounding. I am frequently the only woman on set as an actor, and that's just ridiculous.
The industry desperately needs the influence of women. It's a male-dominated industry, and if we had more women involved, there would be less Harvey Weinsteins. There would be a more accurate portrayal of women on screen, their stories, their desires, their triumphs. Hollywood has had a tendency to produce content that is definitely meant to appeal to a very toxic male viewpoint.
There's a huge representation problem in Hollywood when it comes to women and minorities, and all of us in On the Joke would love to be a part of the change to a more diverse and well-represented Hollywood.
Having more women writers, having more women actors, directors, producers, they can offer that balance that Hollywood so desperately needs and be able to make sure that, it's not being dominated by men, but that there is a balance and that we're portraying humans as humans, not as objects.
We all need to do our part to just be more accepting or like desiring or wanting more stories about women and minorities, or even more so just like more stories about people that the actors are cast as, you know, women or minorities.
Right now, it feels like a huge statement when a woman is directing a film. And it shouldn't be. It should be every other movie you go see in the theater has been written / directed / produced by women.
I think it's a topic we should keep having, but it's also a topic that I am eager to not have anymore, because that would mean the problem would be fixed, and just accept the people that are the best for the job and let them do their job regardless of gender or race or sexuality. And I'd like to be a part of that.
Talent deserves to be recognized, whether female, male, black, white, whatever. It shouldn't be in the situation that it is, but unfortunately there's a situation where women are underpaid in a lot of situations, and I think us as a country, as a human race, we're making strides and things are going well, but there's still a lot that needs to happen.
It just makes it better because women rock.
Will there be a season 2? That's up to you, my friends. It's up to you. Because we're not going to crowdfund again. So keep watching and sharing and liking and subscribing so that we can get some real investors that aren't you and be able to make a second season.